can be bridged. Ladies and gentlemen, let me now take you through what does it really look like on the ground. If you're talking about the areas, the plains of Demchok and Depsang, now this is where, remember, for the longest time we were being allowed to patrol. There again, remember the finger claim. Finger 8 and finger 4 is where the bone of contention still remains. So North Bank of Panging So is where we have started patrolling. South Bank of Panging So, remember there too there was a major victory that the Indian side had. Now here in Hot Spring and Galwan Valley, remember there has been a disengagement that has taken place over the last few years after the multiple rounds of talks that happened diplomatically as well as the military commanders who've met, and they've tried to sort out the friction points as far as Hot Springs and Galwan Valley is concerned. Now this entire area that you're largely looking at, both sides, they would be basically going back to what India has been calling it the status quo ante. That is back the position that both countries were holding in the month of April 2020. Now the patrolling agreement is largely limited to what we are looking at in these two areas, of course covering some of the major friction points that have developed over the last 4.5 years, and that has been accomplished. Let me also try and see if we can go across to our military experts who are joining us on this broadcast, giving us a sense of do they really believe things can really change. Colonel Jha is joining us on this broadcast. Colonel Jha, the biggest concern right now for many would be that beyond what we are really looking at in terms of the disengagement and the de-escalation at the spot, can this be a long-term solution? Keeping in mind that the entire border definition in this area, the line of actual control in itself is quite elusive.
Good afternoon. Just now I was listening to General Bakshi. See, he is been master in that the military positions in that area. Whatever he has said, absolutely it is undeniable. But there is one more undeniable fact. That is, our forces have lost out a vast area in the Sang Plains. That was in 2013. Remember, before 2013, entire Depsang Plains, that was with Indian Armed Forces, that was within us. That is almost about 900 square kilometers. And when in April 2013, PLA invaded that area, they walked almost through up to the Daulat Beg Olti, and then Manmohan Singh government had to request them to go back. They did go back, but then they retained half of the Sang Plains where their bunkers, their positions are there now. Now, of course, with this, agreement of China going back to the position of pre-Galwan is welcome. But remember, every time that we have suffered is because of the lack of the vigilance on the border. Somewhere we have missed out. They came right up to Finger 4 because we missed out their coming out, invading into the Pangong area. They came to the Galwan Valley because we missed out. Despite the patrol going on, we missed out them coming to the Galwan River in the riverbed itself. So before that, even the Pakistan, Kargil happened because we missed out noticing what was going on there. Take the Bhutan side, take the eastern part of the country. We missed out the Doklam because they invaded and they came there, and we failed to notice in the initial stages. Even recently, when they have built those 4 or 5 villages at the Bhutan border, we missed out noticing that. See, every time it has been lack of vigilance on part of our forces, whosoever it is there, whether it was paramilitary forces of ITBP or Indian Armed Forces, we have missed out. And that is how they got into it, and we realized much later. Now, this agreement has happened. I'm sure whatever deadline or whatever timelines they have given, they will do that, because we have seen them doing this in the Pangong area, where on the slopes of Pangong, Finger 4 to 8, we have seen them very rapidly destroying their permanent positions. They are very expert in that. So they will do at this time also, whether it is petrol point 10, 10A, 11, 12, 13, they will do it, I'm sure. But Indian armed forces will have to keep a very strict vigilance, as you have been emphasizing, as General Bakshi has been emphasizing. We cannot trust Chinese. That is the last thing that you can, take the eyes off them. You just cannot. Now, going back to the 2020, also doesn't serve all the purpose. Remember, we have got Daulat Beg Oldie, which is on the plains, and just nearly about say 22 kilometers apart. The Chinese bunkers are there on that plain, and every aircraft of us, if it is going to land there, it is in the direct line of sight. Can we take that chances? No, we cannot take that chances. The talk has to go through, talk has to continue to emphasize that the Chinese must leave the Japsan plains. We cannot afford them to keep there. Otherwise, that airstrip will be in grave danger for any fighter operations or even transport operations or helicopter operations. Even a single rocket launcher or a single shoulder fight missile will be able to
Group Captain,
up there on that.
Group Captain, I'll just request you to stay on with us. We have General Rakesh Sharma. Remember, he's been the 14 Fire and Fury Corps commander, someone who understands the area very well and has dealt with the Chinese for a very long time. General Sharma, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. While this certainly comes across as a relief, but the bigger question that almost everyone has at the top of their mind is that can you really trust the Chinese when it comes to the disengagement, the de-escalation at this point in time, keeping in mind that these are two areas that we are only talking about, Depsong and Demchok. Do you believe that this is perhaps the beginning right now? At least there is some hope in the de-escalation?
Yeah, thank you for calling me on the discussion today. So the fact of the matter is that there is a progress. It's positive. It's a step in the right direction. However, it must be said that that there are other issues involved, like the buffers which have been created along the large number of other areas. The buffers remain. The buffers also imply that they have to be monitored in a manner that they do not. There is no infringement or nobody violates it. So that means that troops will be deployed on either side of the buffers which are there in the other areas, especially in the Changchanmo Valley, the areas of Hot Spring, Gogra, and Galwan, and also in the other areas north and south of Pegong Sule. So those things are still standing. Second issue here is that while the patrolling is allowed, and there have been some dismantling along on the areas of Depsang Bulge, but while we will be patrolling through the areas between PP 9 and 13, which is a very welcome and substantive step, very major step that we will be patrolling that area. It will give us a toehold and a foothold into the excitement. The Chinese on their part will also be coming and doing the patrolling to our side, which is close to the ITBP post of Butse, which is part of their claim line. Now, that area where you come down to Butse is closer to the road that we have built to the DBO, those big oldies. So we'll have to monitor Chinese patrols, because this is quid pro quo. While we are patrolling, and they will also be patrolling similarly. And third issue is the issue of the Demchok. Now, fine print is not available as to what has been agreed, and some tanks may be coming out in Demchok, but how far do we proceed and how far the patrolling will take place along the Demchok-Nala? Is it only up to CNN Junction, which is the Charding-Nulung-Nala Junction, or it is further up? So, the fine print of these things are available. I also wish to add one additional issue, that while our patrolling points are clearly evident and they are known to people around everybody now, see 1 to 65, most people count the patrolling point. We as yet do not know which is the Chinese line of actual control.
Right.
Are they? We still believe in perceptions of what we have gleaned out of as part of the fracas or as part of the problems that were happening
Right.
on the border over the last 20, 30 years. So a time must come by the Chinese. We must ask the Chinese, okay, what is your line of actual control? Which line do you believe
Well, that
is your line
remains.
of actual control?
Well, in fact, that exactly remains the biggest cause of concern as long as the entire definition of the entire boundary, the line of actual control still remains completely elusive. The Chinese perhaps take the most advantage of that situation. Thank you very much, General Rakesh Sharma. We are hoping to bring you back on the channel. In fact, remember, General Rakesh Sharma has served in that area for a very long time and in fact has dealt with the Chinese for a considerable period of time to understand that why this still remains a cause of concern. Praful Bakshi is joining us on this broadcast. Sir, thank you very much for joining us. The first response that many do have at the topmost of their mind is that whether at all can you really believe that the Chinese will follow the agreement that has been signed upon?
Absolutely right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You are absolutely right. But question is, why should you believe them? You first see what they are going to offer and how much are they, what do they mean? Do they mean what they say? So there is no problem. First thing is, your disengagement should follow their disengagement and de-escalation, everything, but you must retain it and don't push them back to the bases. Retain your forces just on the boundary, retain your air force, retain your armed forces, and keep monitoring the movement. Keep monitoring the movement of Chinese and ask for a next meeting. And in the next meeting, you must bring out the point as to how much they have finished, the debrief of this, and ask them, when are we now going to start the Aksai Chin? Keep Chinese under pressure. The moment you leave them and release the pressure, they'll do what they want. So let them realize that they are not dealing with India of 20 years back or something like that. They are actually worried because for the last 6 to 7 years, the attitude of India has unnerved them. So that there's no doubt about it. But question is, Demchok, Deptang, Demchok, the two important points, and the heights, and south and north, both of the Pangong. Why are they objecting are remaining in the south of Pangong? That we must make sure that we do not move out from that place. That is, and then because that opens up to Chushul. All that thing have to be very clear. Army commanders know it better. They know what they are going to miss out. But question is, don't put up our army under political pressure. Let them carry out proper work as it's required.
Captain Praful Bakshi, I'll request you to stay on with us as we step into a short break. Back with focus on the big development that's taking place. Indian Army now indicating that the de-escalation would be completed by the 28th of October.